Good morning, student. Today I'm going to discuss about sampling and types of sampling. In the previous classes, we were discussed about the research process, research design, how to make a research design. In between the process of research design, the particular element is called a sampling. And a sampling, how to take a sampling from the total population actually. So as you see, the sampling is a kind of an activity where you need to choose the samples for your research study. For example, if you're conducting market potential and consumer perception towards two-wheeler bikes in Hospet city, so you need to take the samples from the public. So how to take the samples actually here? So you cannot take the samples across all the population. So you need to make a definite population or definite people whom do you want to take the samples from your for your research study. So here the samples can be divided into two different parts. One is the probability sampling and second one is non-probability sampling. Here the probability sampling again it has been divided into different types. So I'll go one by one. So here the probability sampling is not a biased sampling. Here it'll give an equal opportunity for each and everybody or each and every samples what you want to choose. For example, if there are 10 balls in the basket, so if there are 10 balls in the basket, you can choose any one of the ball randomly, so that any so that all the 10 balls have got the equal opportunity to get the samples from out of it. So that is called a probability sampling. So non-probability sampling means is there you need to go, you make a proper arrangements to take the samples. Where for example you may take out of this all the balls, you may choose only if there are red, green, and white balls. You'll be choosing only red balls. You'll be choosing only white balls. So in such cases, the other two color balls doesn't will get the opportunity in getting the samples for your research study. So there the non-probability sampling, little biased in this duration of getting the samples. So you can see the probability sampling is the simple random sampling means I'll just give you I'll not give the explanations where you can understand a common layman language. So that, and I'll not go with the depth of the textbook definitions and all. So I'll give the common layman language understanding. So here the simple random sampling means, as I told you, simple random sampling where you need to pick the samples randomly from the populations. So for example, if it is a Hospet city, you need to check you need to check the population sampling. So directly just go directly, for example, you take sampling of two-wheeler industry in this market. Directly go to the two-wheeler shops, whether he's a customer or consumer, directly just ask him to give the samples, to fill up your questionnaire and to get the samples from out of them. So that is called simple random sampling. Whoever you going to meet them, you take the samples out of it. And there is no definite whether he is a buyer or customer or whether he is whether he is capable of buying it or not. No, you never think of all those things. You just only randomly picking it up. So like as I said to you, like out of 10 balls, you can pick any one. So simple, randomly you can go to pick the people, samples from out of it. So it is called simple random sampling. And the next one is the systematic random sampling. Systematic random sampling, the word itself will say that it's systematic. For example, if at all you want to choose, for example, we do it in our college, like to make a group of people, and out of 60, then what we do pick the people from every third student or every sixth student or every eighth student will make a group. For example, if you make a group of six, so every sixth person will get one group. So that you can make a group of 10, in the classroom. So like that, you're going to pick up from systematically every third person or every sixth person or every 10th person. So like that, you're going to make a systematic random sampling. Okay. So the next one is stratified random sampling. Stratified means here in the classroom, as I told you again, take an example of classroom. Stratified means you're going to create a strata. Strata means, for example, either you make a class interval of age or class interval of height or class interval of weight. So it may varies from any kind of samples. For example, if I want to take a samples of only the students age between 20 to 25, or between 25 to 30, or between 30 to 35. I'll pick from each these class intervals 3 samples or 4 samples, so that to get my the stratified random sampling for my research study. So any type of sampling can be used to get the samples from the public or population. So next is the cluster sampling. Cluster sampling means you need to make a clusters. Clusters means like, for example, take an example of Karnataka. When you divide this cluster into North Karnataka, the South Karnataka, West Karnataka and East Karnataka. So here you're going to choose any one particular cluster where you need to, because you cannot take all the samples from across Karnataka or the whole Karnataka. So what do? You do collect samples only from the cluster. For example, Hyderabad, Karnataka. The green marketers or the awareness of green products in Hyderabad, Karnataka region only. You create a cluster out of it. You take the samples from this cluster and from the South Karnataka and North Karnataka. Like that, you're going to make a cluster and get the samples out of it. That is called cluster sampling. That also is quite unbiased sampling, where you can get it for your research study. So next is multiphase sampling. Multiphase sampling means, out of all this cluster sampling. For example, you did Hyderabad, Karnataka. You did south, north, east, west. In that cluster, again you make a strata. In that multiphase sampling gun, you what you do, you collect a sample from Hyderabad, Karnataka. You only take samples of students. You only take samples of villagers. Only take samples of farmers, or business owners, or women's, or only girls. So like that, you can take any kind of random samplings, where you can choose from multiphase, apart from inside the cluster sampling. So that is all about the probability sampling here. So here the non-probability sampling. So non-probability sampling means where here in non-probability there is no 100% chance will be not given to the particular samples. For example, you take 100% in out of 100% sampling. So what you do? There is a reservation quota. For example, take a reservation quota here. For example, some 4% for OBC and 6% for SC/ST and 25% for OBC, and the rest 65% is only for general. So here it means that any kind of opportunity is not being given to equally for all the particular 100% samples. So this shows if I take only samples from 4, if I take only samples from 6, if I take only sample from 25, 65, my sampling will affect biased sampling, because it may varies from person to person and from sample to sample. So that is called non-probability sampling. So in that quota sampling, as I told you, this quota. There are the different quota has been given to the reservation people or reservation category. So that it gives us the here it cannot be given 100% equal response can be taken from this kind of a quota sampling. So next is judgment sampling. Judgment sampling means judgment means you have your own temperament or your own wants, and deliberately you want to take the samples. This is a non-probability sampling, also called as deliberate sampling. You yourself wantedly take the samples based on your convenience. So that will sometimes will go for a sampling error actually. So here the judgment sampling means you assume that the products are available in, for example, the vegetables are not available good in urban cities. So what do you do? Your mindset that there are the good available products are available, food products are available in the village areas. So what do you do? Keeping this urban area, you will go to the villages to buy the products actually. So this is a mentality. This is how this sampling where you need to take it. So it means that people are not aware of here, so that I'll go somewhere else to take the samples. Based on your convenience, you go for a non-probability sampling. And next is convenience sampling. Convenience sampling again. Okay, yeah. For example, there are only if I divide this into red and there are number of 20 balls are there. There are red balls and yellow balls and green balls. What do you do? Your convenience. I'll take only red. I will take only red samples of balls for my activity or for my process. So it doesn't mean it means that the yellow and the other green balls are not sampling. For your research study, there lies again the sampling error. So here the convenience sampling based on, because you cannot take all the samples as a whole. From the whole population. That's why this convenience sampling can be taken based on your research. For example, you can convenience based on your community, based on your gender, based on your age. can be taken based on your sampling method. And the last one is the snowball sampling. Here, the snowball sampling means, for example, here sometimes you go for sampling. For example, if I send a questionnaire to get, from my friend, what I do through my friend, I'll ask him to, give it for their references, their network people to, give the chance of, though I don't know, though he is not from the same place. So what I do, I'll ask him to give the reference from him and to fill up the questionnaire for my research study. So through the references, through the networking from one to one, I'm going to take the snowball sampling. This is one of the non-probability sampling method also. So with this, I'm going to explain about the types of sampling, and in further classes, I'm going to discuss about further